कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाट पटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभं नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कंकणं सर्वांगे हरिचंदनं सुललितं कंठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूरामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran, we are in Canto 7. Today we shall take up the last chapter, which is virtuous conduct under the Girhastha Ashram. So the last two chapters are about Girhastha Ashram, how we should conduct while being a Girhasth. Girhasth Sambandhi Sadachar is the 14th chapter and 15th chapter is Girhasthon ke liye Moksha Dharma ka Varnan. Description of the Moksha Dharma for Girhastha. We already discussed that all the Varnashram Dharma rules and rituals are an intermediate state. It is not the final goal that we have to perform all the rituals, all the do's and the don'ts. That is the beauty of Bhakti Marg. Bhakti Marg is very simple. There is no other dharma than surrender to the Supreme Almighty. For us, we consider Sri Krishna to be the Supreme Almighty. Krishna and Radha both are one and the same. For Leela Jagat, Krishna transforms into Radha, and there is no difference between the two personalities. One is in the man form, another is in the woman form. That's the only difference. Otherwise, they are one and the same. But since Sri Krishna also worships Radha, the Yog Maya Shakti, another name for Radha, so Radha is considered superior in that respect, that Sri Krishna is worshipable by all, but there is only one personality which Sri Krishna worships, and that is Radha ji. That is why the name Radha becomes so important and so glorious, that every name of Sri Krishna is preceded by Radha. Radha Govind, Radha Shyam Sundar, Radhe Shyam. And in Vrindavan, everyone just keeps chanting Radhe, 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 Radhe. Sri Maharaji says that with every incoming breath, inhalation, we should say Ra. Ra, and with every exhalation, we should say The, The. And we should apply this formula in a practical way whenever we are, having some disturbances, some distress, some, sadness, pain, mainly it is the emotional pain that, subdues us the most. We should see the magic of the name Radhe. Imagining that Sri Radha ji is in front of us, she is seated in our heart. So in various ways we can bring the name Radhe in our day-to-day life and recall what Sri Maharaji said, that he has put in the Radhe Govinda Geet Kabhu Hari Sanmukh Govind Radhe, Kabhi Kabhu Ur Kabhu Jag Vastu Mein Bata De. So in my opinion, there cannot be a simpler formula than this. Sometimes, so there are three forms of God: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Brahma, he is there in every atom of the universe. That means, is he there in this laptop? He is there in the laptop. Is he there in this pen? The highlighter, he is there in the highlighter. He is there in this paper, he is there in the paper. He is there in every atom. That form of the Lord is called Brahma. Then the second form is Paramatma. He is seated in our heart and he is making a note of all our thoughts. And the third form is Bhagwan. He is standing before us. For example, in the Ram avatar and the Krishna avatar, he is present. So we would have seen him if we were there in that avatar Kal. So that is what Sri Maharaji says, Kabhu Hari Sanmukh Govinda Radhe. Sometimes you feel Radha Krishna is standing before you, Guru is standing before you. Sometimes you feel they are seated in your heart. And sometimes you see them in every object. You are looking at a flower and see Sri Krishna and Radha Krishna and Guru in that flower. You are about to take some fruits, you want to consume some fruits, let's say apple or grapes. So you see Sri Krishna and Sri Radha in that, because that is the Brahma form. In Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 10, it is in chapter 15, it is very beautifully described. You know, in one section, all the three forms are described. If you recall, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharyami Aham Ojasa Pushnami Chausadi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. So this is one shlok in the middle of chapter 10, which says that Sri Krishna is saying, I become the ojas, the strength, the potency behind all the jivas, all the living beings. Dharyami aham ojasa, and I sustain the entire universe. Pushnami chausadi sarva, and I become the juice in the fruits. Somo bhutva rasatmakaha, because the moon shine, the moon which is me, I provide the juice into the fruits, and I provide all the qualities of the vegetation. So this is the Brahma form. And then he talks about his Paramatma form in the next verse, in the next couple of verses. He says, Ahamatma, no, he says, Sarvasya Chaha Mridi Sannivisto Matta Asmitir Gyan Apohanamcha. This is 15:15. So in 15:13, 15:14, he talks about the Brahma form. In 15:15, he talks about the Paramatma form. And in the next few verses, he talks about the Bhagwan form. So in one place in Bhagavad Gita, all the three forms are described. So this is a very important point to understand. The second important point is that why should we do bhakti? Because we do bhakti, we remove all the complexities of the doership. If we think we are the doer, I am running this project, I can do everything with my own strength, I can control all my subordinates, I can talk to all the bosses, and I can make the best presentation. So I, that becomes so much that we get trapped, and not every endeavor will be smooth. There will be so many challenges, and we get stressed. And we don't enjoy, we don't relish the bliss. But if we do our best without caring about the results, as if Sri Krishna is the doer, then everything becomes so smooth and glorious. That is exactly the message of Bhagavad Gita. So long as Arjun was talking about the doership, if I kill my guru and my relatives, I will incur so much of sin, so much of Varna Sankar and all the other problems will occur. There was a stress in Arjun's mind because he was thinking he is the doer. But once he obeys Sri Krishna's instructions and does whatever Sri Krishna is saying, knowing that Sri Krishna is the decision maker, he is the justice dispenser, I don't have to worry, let me just do what Sri Krishna says, then the doership is gone, and then God becomes the doer. And this is exactly what in the third chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says in 17th verse, Yastvat Atmaratireva Shad Atmatriptascha Manava Atmanyaiva cha Santushta Tasya Karyam na Vidyate. If you become self-contented, leaving every decision in God's hand, if you become completely satisfied within yourself, and if you feel joyous and happy within yourself, then you are not the doer, you are not getting stressed because of your work. God becomes your doer, he does everything for you. So very important point we have to consider. And then we are now into the 15th chapter, the Grihast Ashram. But as we mentioned, we don't have to worry about performing the duties of the Grihast Ashram as per the Karm Kand in the Vedas. If we do bhakti, we will have enough inspiration to do whatever we can do, and whatever we cannot do, we should not worry, because when we do bhakti, everything else is taken care. It is like watering the root of the plants. So that is the background. This is the last chapter in this canto, which is the canto on Uti, the pious and impious inclinations. The next chapter will be Manvantar, and that is going to be a very fascinating canto, because in that canto we will come across three great avatars of the Lord. The first one is the four avatars rather. Lord as Hari, he descended to save Gajendra the elephant who had been attacked by the crocodile. The second avatar of the Lord is a Narsingha avatar, how he descended to rescue Prahlad, grace Prahlad. The third avatar is the avatar of Vaman Dev, how he came down to help the Devatas and how he usurped the entire Brahmand by measuring the Brahmand in his 3 steps from King Bali. And the fourth avatar is that of Matsya, the fish avatar, in which he rescued the Vedas from the demon Hayagriv and restored it to Brahmaji. So there are so many fascinating stories, and Bhagwat says if we recall those stories, we get absolved of all the sins. So exciting time for us. The entire Bhagwat Katha is exciting, but it is going to be sweeter and sweeter as we go along. So now let us sing the bhajan, and then we will read the text from the 14th chapter, and then we will have some interactive discussions. Man karu sumiran Radhe Rani ke charan, man karu sumiran Radhe Rani ke charan. O my mind, meditate on the lotus feet of Radharani. The color of Radharani's lotus feet is like a fresh blossoming leaf. Radharani's lotus feet are the very life and soul of the Rasik saints. Radharani's lotus feet are the treasure of my life. I respectfully bow down countless times to the lotus feet of Radharani. My mind has become attached to the lotus feet of Radharani. Okay, we can read the next slide also and then come back to sing the bhajan. My mind has become attached to the lotus feet of Radharani. Radharani's lotus feet are the only shelter to the shelterless. Radharani's lotus feet are the redeemer of the fallen souls. Radharani's shining toe rings make a melodious jingling sound. Says Jagat Guru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, Radharani's lotus feet are the object of my meditation. because the lotus feet of the Lord and Guru are considered the highest objects for our worship and obeisances. We are always eager to take the dust from the lotus feet of Hari and Guru. So let us meditate on Radha Rani's lotus feet. मान करो सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, नव पल्लव वरन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, नव पल्लव वरन, राधे रानी के चरण, जीवन रसिकन, राधे रानी के चरण, जीवन रसिकन, मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, सोई मेरो प्राण धन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, सोई मेरो प्राण धन, राधे रानी के चरण, करु कोटि नमन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, करु कोटि नमन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, मेरी लागी है लगन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, मेरी लागी है लगन, मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण. If anyone wants to sing, please raise your hands. मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, अशरण को शरण हो, राधे रानी के चरण, अशरण को शरण हो, राधे रानी के चरण, पतितन पावन, पतितन पावन, मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, बाजे राधे रानी बिछुअन, बाजे छनन छनन छनन, राधे रानी बिछुअन, बाजे छनन छनन छनन, बाजे छनन छनन छनन, राधे रानी बिछुअन, बाजे छनन छनन छनन, राधे रानी के चरण, है कृपालु के त्रिगन हो, राधे रानी के चरण, है कृपालु के त्रिगन, मन करू सुमिरन राधे रानी के चरण, मन करू चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण, राधे रानी के चरण। बोलिए श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundananji. My humble pranam to all of you. And now let us read from the Canto 7, Chapter 15, various conducts under the Varnashram Dharma for Grihastha. I'll read a couple of slides and then if you all wish, you can raise your hand. Naradji continues, some Brahmins are devoted to rituals, some in study and teaching of Vedas, some in pursuit of Gyan and devotion. Oblations of food are given during a Shraddh. During a Shraddh, ideally three Brahmins, and during other ceremonies, two Brahmins should be offered food, and also keep the ceremony simple with less number of people to keep the sanctity and purity of the ceremony. If conducting the ceremony is not possible, then the right food item should be first offered to Sri Hari and to a worthy recipient as mentioned in the scriptures to yield the desired fruit. The food cooked on such occasions should be duly distributed to Devatas, Rishis, mains, which are the Pitars, other living beings, self and relatives, and look upon all as forms of the Supreme. Abstinence from violence in mind, speech, and body is an acclaimed virtue dharma. Then there are those who, with the self-control got from knowledge, withdraw from external rituals. Naradji then lists the 5 types of adharma. One is vidharma, that is one's own act which interferes in following one's own dharma. Then paradharma is rightful act for another but not for oneself. Upadharma, act conduct which goes against Vedas or deceives someone. Chal, act conduct by distorting the sacred text. Abhas, any new stage of life other than brahmachari, girhastha, vanprastham and sannyasi created by men as per their wrong understanding leading to misery. So these are all details about what all can happen in the girhasthashram and how a person can do the right conduct or the wrong conduct is all described. But as I mentioned, we only read it to know the context and the complexities, but these are not compulsory. So let's see the second slide. Naraji advises not to run after obtaining wealth, even for maintenance, which will never satisfy the senses. For a contented man feels secure in the supreme bliss, just as a foot feels secure in a footwear, safe from gravels, thorns, and a stone. A contented man is also happy if only water is available. The man desiring and acquiring material opulences will never get a lasting peace, as he may resort to violence in acquiring and maintaining the same. And this discontent will descend him into depths of hell. Hence, O king, practice the following in order to get rid of desire, which is contemplation over not to gratify, satisfied, wrath or anger, chewing desire, greed, always remembering that wealth is evil, fear, contemplating, pondering over the real nature of things, grief, infatuation, differentiating, distinguishing matter separate from a spirit, hypocrisy through seva of pious souls, impediments, disasters, concentration of mind in silence, violence, inactivity of the body for dharma, artha, kam. So all the recipes for the difficult situations are very well listed here. Let us go into the next one.
I think Mohit wants to read the slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get over misery, pain caused by fellow beings, being compassionate and friendly towards them, divine agencies, natural disaster, calmly composing the mind, accept it as design will, body illness, practicing yoga, pranayam, sleep, through recourse the sattvic food, etc. O king, crossover Rajagun and Tamagun through sattva, then conquer sattva through detachment. It can be practiced through selfless service to one's acharya preceptor. If one start doubting even the acharya, then such knowledge is as good as elephant's bath. Your own cousin, Sri Krishna, is still seen as a human by some. So, O king, treat your preceptor as this very Sri Krishna, both being the same, and devotedly worship your acharya feet. In fact, all karma or rituals have one aim: subjugation of the mind, and to progress from dharma, dhanya, contemplation and samadhi, which is also called as meditation. Narad further details the life of recluse. He further states that men who steer away from dharma, disregarding their varnashrama, should best be ignored as they are only acting under the supreme lord Maya. He explained the human life, wish, the chariot. He gives the example of Emperor Bharat, whose sattvic mode of compassion still led him to attachment. Hence, it's vital to control the senses with worship of five souls and undisturbed devotion to Lord Achyuta's feet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
So,
the
Shri,
message in this slide is, about control of the mind. If you read Bhagavad Gita, the entire Bhagavad Gita is about this technique, mind management. What is the cardinal message of Bhagavad Gita? It is Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmar Yuddhecha. Shri Krishna does not prevent Arjun to perform what is required to be performed. In the battle of Mahabharat, it has become inevitable for the Pandavas to fight the Kauravas. So Arjun shunning the war and running away from the battlefield is not the answer. That is why Bhagavad Gita was imparted to Arjun. And what is the message? Don't run away from your swadharma. It is your duty to act. But if you act, but you don't get attached to the results of your action, you consider this as a duty ordained by the Lord, then your work does not bind you. The detachment causes no results of your action. This is exactly the point. For example, the 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 person or the officer who used his weapon in quelling the crowd, he shot a bullet and one person was killed. When he was produced in the court, he said, I cannot be held responsible for this killing because this was an order from my superior. So his superior was called and he explained the crowd was becoming very restless and the mob would have created so much of trouble. And if this fire was not shot, then it would have led to many more deaths. So of course one person was killed, but the situation was brought under control. So that officer, was he punished? No, rather he was decorated, he was awarded the citation because he acted very bravely and sensibly. So his killing was not counted because his intention was not to kill. He was just obeying the order of his superior. If we can understand this point, we can understand Bhagavad Gita also, because Arjun is fearful about shooting arrows to his relatives, his guru, his kith and kin. But because this is an instruction from the Lord who knows the best, and he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shucha. Arjun, if you are obeying my rule of Sharanagati, and if you have come under my surrender, my shelter, then no other dharma needs to be worried about. So, in the chapter 18, shloka number 64, Sri Krishna tells Arjun, Sarva Guhyattamam Bhuya Shinu me Paramam Vacha. Because so far Arjun was nodding his head, but he was not fully accepting. Otherwise, why he would be asking questions in all the chapters? He did say, Shishyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. I am your disciple and I will act as you say. I am your disciple. But just by the words, one doesn't become a disciple. He kept asking questions. That is why in 64, in the 18th chapter, Sri Krishna is asking, Sarva guhyattamam bhuya shinu me parvam vachaha. Now I am going to tell you the highest, the most confidential knowledge. And what is that knowledge? So in the next verse, 65, 1865, he says, Man manabho mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame Vaishya Satyam Te Prati Jane Priyosi Me. This is 1865. Man Manabhav Mad Bhakto. Remember me all the time. Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Do everything for my bliss and worship me. Pay obeisances to me. That is your paro dharma. That is your highest dharma. And if you do that, no other actions or karma or rituals need to be contemplated about. Everything is already taken care of. So this is the highest knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and that is what we are learning. That Bhakti Marg is so simple, it is so easily executable, and the rewards are the highest. So all this dhyan and dharana and samadhi, that is not compulsory for a Bhakti Margi. This is just the description of Varnashram Dharma, which is not mandatory. Let us see the next slide.
Chilanji, kind.
He further explains Pravratta Karma, acts which draw the mind to the world. Nivritta Karma, act which turns the mind away from the world. Here, O son of Kunti, design all one's actions of mind, body, and speech to the Supreme Spirit, selflessly, which is also called as Kriyadvait, as against Dravyadvait, which is all acts done for self and relative interests. O king, observing the rules, the conduct mentioned in the Vedas, with regard to the Varnashram, even a grihast householder gets blessed with devotion while still staying at home, just as you, Pandavas, have overcome so many series of calamities till now, only by the grace of Sri Krishna, so also you shall cross over the mundane existence with your devotion and service to Sri Krishna by his grace again.
Absolutely. So again, the bhakti is being glorified in these slides, in these words, that by observing the rules conduct mentioned with regard to Varnashram, even a grahast gets blessed with devotion while still staying at home, just as you Pandavas have overcome so many series of calamities by the grace of Sri Krishna. So grace of the Lord is being spoken about, and so if Arjun acts under the guidance of Sri Krishna, his karma becomes the karma yoga. So although some technical terms have been used, kriya advait and drabya advait, which we can read in detail on our own, But the most important point is this, that that bhakti is the highest, pursuit for all of us. And this knowledge of varnashram, we can take it as an academic knowledge, but we shouldn't get caught by it. Let's go to the next slide. Any other person to read?
I don't mind reading.
Yes, yes, please.
Narad now tells his own birth as Gandharva. Upbarhan, is that correct? Upbarhan? In the previous kalpa, a day of Brahma. He was blessed with the most beautiful form, grace, sweet voice, and fragrance, and was extremely fond of women. They also found him very attractive. Once during a yagna, all were invited to sing the glories of Sri Hari. He too went there and started singing out of turn profane songs without taking permission. Taking as an offense for his disrespect, he was cursed by the creators of the universe to be born to a maid without any opulences. Fortunately for him, his mother used to serve in an ashram frequented by pious souls and sages, and having close association with them, by serving them, he listened to the Vedas and its knowledge. Narad could get back his present form of mind, born son of Brahma. Narad once again repeats how fortunate the Pandavas are to have Sri Hari in such close proximity. Sri Suk concludes, hearing this, Yudhishthir was overwhelmed with gratitude and love towards Sri Krishna present there, who was no other than the supreme reality. Narad then left for his abode after the ceremony was over. O King Parikshit, such is the creation containing animate and inanimate things, demons and human beings of Daksha.
Radhe Radhe. So, Grihast Ashram is being described, and also Naradji's previous birth is described. We all knew that Naradji's previous birth, he was the son of a maid, and how his mother passed away at an early age of Naradji, and how he was protected by the Supreme. All those stories we have read. And but he talks about another birth in which Naradji was a Gandharva, Upabarhan, and in that in the previous kalp, and how his insolence in singing songs without permission, was considered an offense, and he was cursed to be born to a maid without any opulences. So let's read the next one.
So that's what we have.
So this is, yeah. So this is a set of chaupais from Ramcharitmanas. Let me first sing this, and then if anyone wants to recite, is most welcome. So this is also to illustrate from Ramayana that jap, tap, niyam, yog, dharma, shruti, reading of Vedas, all these are not adequate if bhakti is missing. So that is what this set of verses says, that even if we do all these great austerities, great fasting, great tap, jap, etc., but if it doesn't lead to the love for God, the attachment to the lotus feet of Hari and Guru, there is absolutely no point. So let us see. जप तप नियम योग निज धर्मा श्रुति संभव नाना शुभ कर्मा ज्ञान दया दम तीरथ जन जहाँ लगी धर्म कहे श्रुति सजन आगम निगम पुराण अनेका, परहि सुनहि कर फल प्रभु एका। तव पद पंकज प्रीति निरंतर, सब साधन कर यह फल सुंदर। श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम। Repetition of the divine name. Performance of all duties pertaining to the four orders and stages of life. All penance, austerity, knowledge, exercise of compassion, control of the senses, and going on pilgrimage should result only in devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. The Ramayana goes to the extent of saying that even Brahma, the creator, should be ignored if he is devoid of devotion. So, no matter how important the personality, if the devotion is missing in that jeev, the the person is not considered the right person with the right objective. So this Ramayana shloka is so pertinent that even Brahma is not out of the purview of a scrutiny. So if anyone wants to sing or read the translation, please go ahead. Vijay Bhaiya, you want to read?
Yeah. So, repetition of the divine name, performance of all duties pertaining to the four orders and stages of life, all penance, austerity, knowledge, exercise of compassion, control of the senses, and going on pilgrimage should result only in devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. The Ramayana goes to the extent of saying that even Brahma, the creator, should be ignored if he is devoid of devotion.
Thank you very much. So with that, we have covered the last chapter of seventh canto, and we shall take up the next canto, which will be about. Yeah, now we can take up the slides. We can go into the eighth canto, which will be about Manvantar. So, what is a Manvantar? Manvantar is the time of one Manu. In every day of Brahmaji, which is called a Kalp, there are 14 Manvantars. So every Manvantar, the Manu changes. The main in charge of that Yug, the personality, he changes. The Saptarishis change. The Indra changes. And also the sons of the Manu, they take over the control. So there are 4 5 rules about this Manvantar. Right now we are in the seventh Manvantar, which is called Vaivaswat Manvantar. In the present Kalp, 6 Manvantars are over. The first Manvantar is Swayambhu Manu. Second one is Rohit Shwa. Third one is Uttam. Fourth one is Raivat. Fifth one is the sixth one is Chakshus, and the seventh one is Vaivaswat. So Swayambhu, Swarochis, Uttam, Raivat, one more, and the sixth Chakshus, and seventh our Vaivaswat Manu. And this Vaivaswat Manu is born as the son of sun god. Sun god is Vivaswan, and Vivaswan is the son of Brahmaji. Vivaswan is the son of Kashyapji, who is married to Aditi. So if you see the lineage, Brahmaji and Manasputra Kashyap, Manasputra Marichi, his son Kashyap, and Kashyap is married to Aditi, and they have this son called Vivaswan, which is sun god. And Vivaswan's son is Ikshwaku, in whose lineage Ram appears. So in the lineage of Ikshwaku, there are so many personalities. The prominent ones are Harishchandra, Sagar, Anshuman, Bhagirath. Then we have Raghu, we have Aj, finally, and Khatwang, finally Dashrath and his son Ram. So this is the Surya Vansh because sun god is the ancestral father. If you go into the lineage of Sri Krishna, his descendancy is from Atri Muni, who is the Manasputra Brahma. So Atri Muni, his son Som, his son Budh, his son Purarva, his in that lineage Yayati, then Nabhag, Sharyati, then Sursen, and then Vasudev and his son Krishna. So because Som is the Chandra, moon god, so Krishna is called Chandravanshi. So Chandravanshi Krishna, Suryavanshi Ram, we understand the lineage. We also know that at the end of each kalp, the three lokas are dissolved. The three loki, Bhulok, Bhuvarlok, and Swarglok. These three are dissolved. The other four lokas on the top, Mahalok, Janalok, Tapalok, and Satyalok, they remain intact. And in these, the period of dissolution, Brahmaji goes to sleep, and when he wakes up, again the creation restores these lokas, and all the jivas come and populate the earth. So earth, the planet, populate the planets. So this is the most amazing the acts of the Lord. And also, as I said, we will read about the Satyavrat king who received the Lord as fish, and how that fish kept growing. That fascinating story we will read. We will read about the Vaman Dev, Vaman Avatar, and we will read about the Matsya Avatar. So with that, handing over to Vijay Bhaiya to invite the participants to say a few words or to provide a feedback or add to the discussion.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Shreya, for the time and this. Although it is optional for us, but it's good to know so that whoever is not into bhakti, we can tell them, okay, this is good. This is how it should be done. And I like the point number 9 where it says like when somebody is not listening, just think that okay, this is like Supreme Lord Maya is happening, and just ignore that person. That way we don't get stuck with that, and because I've seen in my case, like because of the attachment, we go behind the person and say, okay, do this, do this, do this, and without even realizing and wasting time behind that. So it's good to know that we have to think like this and get out of it. And with that, like I'll probably open up for any questions. I see Padma Didi joining, Vasudhaya is joining today. So anybody has any questions? Mohit has. Do you want to unmute yourself? Mohit?
Yeah. Hello, Rajesh Bhaiya. Just one question, right? So we said that if someone is doing the bhakti, right, then there is no need to do any karm kand or anything, right? But my question is, right, karm kand is also written in Ved Shastra, right? And how do I know that I'm doing enough bhakti so that how I cannot do, I do not do the karm kand if I'm doing, whether I'm doing enough bhakti for that or not?
Yeah, so very nice question. So in Bhagwat Gita, this point is very beautifully described by Sri Krishna, that karma kand is not essential, and karma is not essential. But if you don't do karma, what happens? We are becoming a sannyasi. We have renounced the world. But can everyone renounce the world? So, from a practical point of view, Sri Krishna suggests you do the karma, because otherwise a wrong message will go to the society. It is all right to renounce the work if you have become a complete servitor to the Lord, because that is the goal of our life. We can become sannyasis, but then those who are considering you as the role model or who look upon to you, they will get misled. They will not understand this person has given up his routine work, his family life, his office work, and this may send the wrong signal. So Sri Krishna says, between karma sannyas and karma yoga is superior, and he advises people to remain in their station of life. For example, all of us, we are into our work, we are into our family life. So the message from Sri Krishna is, remain in your station. You are a grihastha, you remain a grihastha, and you do your karma, but don't get obsessed that you have to perform everything perfectly as per all the rituals. Because as long as you are doing bhakti, so bhakti can be done even while we are into our job, into the family life, we can do bhakti. Bhakti means what? Bhakti means attachment of mind. So if the mind is attached to God, we can do the minimum, the ritualistic performance, because otherwise also the society will get a wrong signal why this person is not doing any ceremony. Or there are different events in life, like the marriage ceremony and birth ceremony. So we should do that, but that is not the goal. That is just a ritual. The real message is to do bhakti. So you do the ritual, but that is not the main goal. It is more for harmony in the society, harmony in the family, but that is not compulsory. Now, how we should know that we are doing enough bhakti? So if we are doing enough bhakti, our own heart will tell us the progress. Are we becoming less agitated in difficult moments? Are we getting less disturbed when we lose some money, or when we lose some wealth? Are we becoming less disturbed when somebody insults us? So all these tests will reveal that we are progressing. So it's not very simple to answer about our real position, but there is enough signal from our own self to say how we are progressing, and how much rituals are necessary for me, and how much rituals are not necessary, that we should be able to judge. I hope we can, uh, I hope I have clarified your
Yeah.
question a bit.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh bhai. I mean,
Thank you.
to be honest, I sometimes feel bad, right? When I see society, right? They are not performing the rituals that is written in Ved Shastra, right? For an example, like if someone die in your family, right? There's a ritual of you do 12 days of whatever the ritual says, right? But sometimes people are finishing in 3 days, right? And then I myself feel bad, right? Is it the right way? That's not written in Ved and Shastra, right?
So, as I said, a person who is not into bhakti, then he is neither doing bhakti nor doing the ritual. So, the karma kand was made by those who have not yet matured enough to do bhakti. But if the person is avoiding that also, that is sheer laziness and that is sheer neglect. So that is even worse than not doing bhakti.
Yeah.
So that of course is the point. I mean, a time will come, then a person is so busy, why do I have to do a marriage ceremony, why do I have to do a birth ceremony, I'll not do anything. So that is how the Kali Yuga will eventually get into, because Kali Yuga, the adharma will gradually increase, and that tendency what you are describing is the same tendency. The person doesn't do bhakti because he doesn't have belief in God, and also at the same time he is so lazy and he's so busy with his mundane duties, that even the minimum ritual, like you said, the Shraddh ceremony is being neglected. And I have also seen that, the Shraddh ceremony is neglected, and it is done in a very, very casual way, and without much, the piety and all that. So that definitely is not good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh Bhaiya. Thank you.
Thanks, Mohit, for this question. I think most of the people, they will have this. So moving on to any other questions, do we have like Sheila Diti? Do you have any questions, or Padmayati? Oh yeah.
I have a question, please. I was reading. Thank you, Vaya. I was listening to Sri Mukundananji's Bhagwat Gita, and one of the things he said was that the Devtas are not Mahapurush at all, like Indra, Varun, Agni, Dev. They are just like us beings, but because they are in the celestial abode, they are called Devtas, but they haven't reached the state of Mahapurush. They haven't had Bhagavad Prapti. Is that what it is, Bhaiya?
Yes, Devata is a person who did great rituals and great austerities, and they are in the sattvic mode. So, sattvic mode, you don't do acts of tamasic and acts of rajasic, but you are still under the influence of Maya, the guna. So, Devatas are the persons who, because of their sattvic qualities, they graduated into the Devlok. Some of them became, Varun or Agni or Vayu, and Indra also, who is the king of the Lord. But has he got rid of all the Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, Matsar, all the mental afflictions? He has not. And that we have seen. Indra has got attached to Ahalya. Indra has got fearful because of the yajnas performed by the kings on the Prithvi Lok. So many, defects we see in even in Indra. So we can imagine the state of affairs even in Devlok. So exactly, they are not Mahapurush, because Mahapurush is a person who has become God realized. The Maya is no longer prevalent on them. And that happens only when the God has grace. But because the Devatas are under the influence of gunas, is still Sattvic guna is still there in them. And even those acts of lust and greed can be compared to the lower gunas. So definitely they are not the Mahapurush. Thank you.
And just to add one point, so even we have taken, infinite lifetimes, we have also become Devtas many times. Like we
We
have
have
become
become Devatas in many
Indra.
times.
So whatever we are worshipping, that Navagraha and all those Surya, Chandra and everyone, like we have also become many times. So like so that's because that's why they also need the human body, right? This is what, like, from our Shastras and Maharajis.
Yeah. So Devatas are much more opulent. They are very much opulent. They don't have to cook like us. They just meditate and they get what they wish.
Yeah.
Their body is very fragrant. Sri Maharaji says if a Devata comes to Oxford Street and meets Vijay Bhaiya, the fragrance will be so enchanting that people will faint. And Devatas don't have to walk they walk above the ground. That is how Damayanti recognized, the Nal Damayanti story is based on that. She recognized that somebody was, deceiving, they wanted to marry her, the Devlok people. And then she recognized because the feet were not on the ground, and she alerted herself. So Devatas are very opulent. They stay in the Devlok, but they cannot do karma. The only species who can do karma is the humans. Devatas cannot do that. So even they are praying to the Lord, oh, make me human so that I can attain God. So that is the defect. And Bhagavad Gita is very clearly saying that our goal is not to go into the Devlok.
So Anybody else? We can take any last question. Okay, so I think
Smita ji is there, so
Smita, do you have any question? She's on mute. Okay, probably. So if we don't have anything, like probably we can.
राधे राधे भैया.
राधे राधे.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन. भैया हर बार की तरह ये सेशन बहुत ही सुंदर था. बस एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था, जैसे अभी आपने कहा कि देवता भी चाहते हैं कि वो हाँ मानव जन्म में आए, और ताकि उनको भी अभी आपने कुछ एक लाइन कहा था कि उनको भी कृष्ण के पास
भगवत प्राप्ति करने का मौका मिले, क्योंकि वहां पर उनके कर्म नहीं हो पाएंगे. वो कर्म योनि नहीं है, वो भोग योनि है. वो कर्म करके अपने जीवन को आगे नहीं बढ़ा सकते. उसके लिए मानव जन्म लेना पड़ेगा. जी
जी. और मानव जन्म में जैसे कि हम सब अपना अपना अर्निंग अपने जीवन यापन के लिए करते हैं, तो उसमें क्या 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 लिमिटेशन होना चाहिए. जैसे कि कुछ लोग हैं कि अभी एक बैलेंस जॉब में है, बैलेंस लाइफ में है, उनके पास सब कुछ है, सब कुछ लाइफ में ठीक चल रहा होता है, फिर भी वो चाहते हैं कि हम यहाँ से और बेटर और अर्निंग अच्छा वाला जॉब में जाए. तो इस चीज को किस तरह बैलेंस किया जा सकता है. जैसे
जी
कि जी जी भैया, अगर
हाँ,
आप मेरा
बताइए. नहीं,
क्वेश्चन.
आप कंप्लीट कर लीजिए.
जैसे कहते हैं ना कि हमें बहुत लालच नहीं होना चाहिए. तो मान लो कोई बंदा अपने कैरियर पाथ में और आगे जाना चाह रहा है, तो वहाँ उसका दो लक्ष्य हो सकता है. एक तो हो सकता है कि वो और ज्ञान की प्राप्ति करना चाह रहा है, नॉलेज गेन करना चाह रहा है, या उसमें एक्सेल करना चाह रहा है. और एक होता है कि जस्ट फॉर द अर्निंग से, बेटर सैलरी के लिए वो उसके पीछे लगा होता है, अपना कभी हेल्थ सेक्रीफाइस करके, कभी फैमिली सेक्रीफाइस करके. तो क्या ये सारा कुछ करते हुए वो भगवत प्राप्ति कर सकता है क्या, या उसको ये लोभ को छोड़ना चाहिए कि नहीं.
हाँ, तो आंसर इज वेरी सिंपल, और हमने इसको पहले कई बार डिस्कस किया है कि हमारे जीवन का लक्ष्य क्या है. हमारे जीवन का लक्ष्य है भगवान की प्राप्ति.
जी.
क्योंकि उनको प्राप्त करके ही हमें आनंद की अनुभूति होगी, हमें माया से छुटकारा मिलेगा, हमारे दुख दूर होंगे, हमें अनंत आनंद की प्राप्ति होगी, हमें अनंत शांति की प्राप्ति होगी, और फिर हमें इस मनुष्य योनि में बार बार वापस नहीं आना होगा. पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम. शंकराचार्य ने लिखा है ना कि हर बार हमको आना पड़ता है, 9 महीने लटकना पड़ता है माता के पेट में. तो वह सब बंद हो जाते हैं जब कोई भगवत प्राप्ति कर लेता है. इसीलिए 84 लाख योनि में मनुष्य को योनि मिली कि वो भगवत प्राप्ति कर ले और सदा के लिए भगवान का हो जाए और भगवान के लोक में विचरण करे. और वहां से अगर वो पृथ्वी लोक पर भगवान उसको भेजते हैं तो वो महापुरुष बनकर आए. तो वही भगवत प्राप्ति के लक्ष्य के लिए मानव धर्म, मानव जन्म दिया गया. बट हमने उस लक्ष्य को भुलाकर हमने अगर सिर्फ धन प्राप्ति के लिए हमने अपना जीवन उसमें लगा दिया, तो उसका बहुत भयंकर घोर परिणाम है. हमें उसके फल को भुगतना पड़ेगा और हमें उसका कोई लाभ नहीं होगा जब हमें मृत्यु प्राप्ति होगी. और इस जन्म में भी कहाँ वो सुख की अनुभूति कर पाता है. वो लगता है कि सुख की अनुभूति है, लेकिन हर समय 1 करोड़ अर्जित किया, अब उसे 2 करोड़ की चिंता है, 3 करोड़ की. धन कमाना बुरी बात नहीं है, तो धन अगर लक्ष्य बदल दे, धन इसलिए कमाए कि भगवान की सेवा और कर सकूं. मैं इतने सारे यूके लंदन के डिवोटीज हैं, सबको अपने घर पे बुलाऊं, हर महीने सत्संग करूं और इसलिए धन कमाऊं, सबको दावत दूं. वो लक्ष्य है, तब वो सीईओ बने, धन कमाए, तो बहुत ग्लोरियस है. लेकिन भगवान की भक्ति को छोड़कर धन का अर्जन सिर्फ अपने लिए हो रहा है, तो उसका भयंकर परिणाम.
हाँ, अच्छा भैया, एक मिनट और। भैया मान लो, सपोज करो कोई मानव जीवन में ही बहुत खुश है, मतलब कि वो बहुत संतुष्ट बंदा है, उसको कोई ऐसा टेंशन नहीं है कि उसको ज्यादा धन मिले, या उसको ऐसा नहीं है, बहुत पद की भी चिंता नहीं है। जैसे मान लो कोई किसान, वो बहुत हैप्पी है अपने लाइफ में, अपने फैमिली से, अपने सराउंडिंग से। तो 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 उसको क्या जरूरत पड़ा हुआ है कि वो भगवत प्राप्ति करे? हमको कैसे पता चलेगा कि भगवत प्राप्ति के बाद वाला जो सुख है वो वो ज्यादा अच्छा है, या अभी वाला ज्यादा सुख
हाँ,
अच्छा है? ये कैसे कंपेयर कर सकते हैं?
तो कहाँ सुख है? वो जो किसान की जब आप बात कर रहे हैं, उसे वृद्धावस्था प्राप्त होगी, मृत्यु प्राप्त होगी, तो क्या
हम्म।
वो अवस्था में वो खुश रहेगा? उसको बीमारी प्राप्त होगी। तो कौन ऐसा मनुष्य है जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि से वंचित है? उसको कुछ समय की बात है, उसको लग रहा है कि उसके जीवन में कोई दुख नहीं है, लेकिन
जी
व्हाट अबाउट ओल्ड एज, व्हाट अबाउट इलनेस, व्हाट अबाउट डेथ? तो ये तो लगा हुआ है ना, इससे कैसे छुटकारा मिलेगा? और कोई सचमुच ऐसा है कि उसके जीवन में कोई कष्ट नहीं है? थोड़े समय के लिए हो सकता है, लेकिन क्या उसको इंसल्ट अच्छा लगता है? क्या उसको गरीबी अच्छी लगती है? और अगर कोई आर्टिफिशियली अपने आप को इस तरह से कंडीशन किया हुआ है, ऐसे हो सकते हैं।
जी
लेकिन मतलब दुख सबके जीवन में है। अगर हम अंदर में जाएं तो पता चलेगा कि कोई भी सुखी नहीं है। भगवान के बिना कोई सुखी रह ही नहीं सकता है। और डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली भगवान से जुड़ने पर ही सुख की अनुभूति होती है।
भैया, एक चीज और। तो भैया, अभी जैसे कि अभी हम लोग जिस स्टेज में हैं, मतलब जस्ट भागवत आपसे सुन रहे हैं, सीख रहे हैं। तो जैसे कि अगर ये जानना कोई चाहे कि अगर भागवत प्राप्ति मान लीजिए किसी को हो जाती है, जैसे महाराज जी को हो गई, तो उस अवस्था में क्या होता है? ऐसा क्या डिफरेंस रहेगा? जस्ट आई डोंट नो, मे बी अ
हाँ,
पुलिस क्वेश्चन,
या तो
बट
महाराज जी का जहां तक है, वो तो भगवत प्राप्त, उनको भगवान का स्वरूप ही माना गया है, तो वो तो
जी
भगवत प्राप्ति हैं, थे और आए और फिर गए अपने इस रूप में। लेकिन
जी
जैसे मान लीजिए इस ग्रुप में भी 10 लोग हैं, किसी की भगवत प्राप्ति हो गई, तो
जी
उसकी जब भगवत प्राप्ति हो गई तो उसके जीवन से कष्ट जीरो हो गया। उसके जीवन में अब सुख ही सुख है, आनंद ही आनंद है, और वो आनंद बढ़ता चला जाता है। और भगवान के जो 8 उनके जो विभूतियां हैं वो उसको प्राप्त हो जाती है। जैसे कहते हैं एष आत्मा अभृत पापमा विजरो विजिघत्सो विशोको विमृत्युर अपिपासा सत्य संकल्पा सत्य कामा। तो उसकी सारी मतलब कष्ट का निवारण हो गया। कष्ट का निवारण ही नहीं, उसको आनंद की प्राप्ति हो गई। और अब वो देखने में भले ही अपने आप को जिस अवस्था में रखे, दुनिया को दिखलाने के लिए जो भी करे, बट उसके अंदर सिर्फ आनंद का समावेश है। वो भगवान से जुड़ गया और
जी
अब वो आनंद की समुद्र में गोता लगा रहा है और वो कृत्य कृत्य हो गया। अब वो भगवान से ही इंस्पायर्ड होकर उसके सारे कर्म भगवान के द्वारा ही किए जाएंगे और उसके जीवन में अब कुछ निगेटिव रहा नहीं। पंच कोश चले गए, पंच क्लेश चले गए, त्रिगुण चले गए, त्रिकर्म चले गए। देखने में भले जो लगे, ऐसा लगेगा कि उसको कोई बीमारी हो गई, लेकिन
ओके
उसको कोई उसकी अनुभूति नहीं होगी, उसको कोई उसका कष्ट नहीं होगा। दिखलाने के लिए वो जरूर दिखलाए कि उसे कष्ट हो रहा
अच्छा, ठीक है।
है। जी,
मतलब अगर मान लो उसको कोई चोट लगी तो उसको पेन फील नहीं होगा अंदर से? मे
दिखलाने के
बी
लिए वो
दैट।
दिखला सकते हैं, वो दिखला
हाँ हाँ
सकते हैं। वो उनके
हाँ।
मन पर है कि उनको वो फील करें न करें। तो
जी
ये बड़ा प्रोफाउंड क्वेश्चन है और इसको महापुरुष लोग छुपाते हैं, बतलाते नहीं हैं। लेकिन
अच्छा
जैसे रामकृष्ण परमहंस को जब कैंसर हुआ तो उनको इसकी कोई चिंता नहीं थी, उनको इसके कोई कष्ट की अनुभूति, गले का कैंसर था जब उनका। और उनको
अच्छा
लोगों ने बोला कि आप तो इतने बड़े महापुरुष हैं, आपके पास कोई समीप आता है तो उसके कष्ट दूर हो जाते हैं, आप अपने कष्ट को क्यों नहीं दूर करते? तो वो
जी
बोलते हैं कि मुझे मेरी माता ने ये मुझे दिया है एक उपहार, तो इसको मैं क्यों न इसको स्वीकार करूं। तो ऐसी स्थिति हो जाती है महापुरुष की।
ओके
उसको कोई उसके जीवन में कोई इंसल्ट और कोई इसको, हालांकि वो लीला जगत में कैसे भी एक्ट कर सकता है।
जी। बहुत
गंभीर
बहुत
प्रश्न, गंभीर पॉइंट है और इस पर बड़ी लंबी चर्चा हो सकती है और बड़ा प्रोफाउंड है। इसको क्वालिफाइड लोग ही आंसर कर सकते हैं। मैंने जो जितना कुछ समझा है उस पर मैंने थोड़ी कोशिश की। जी
बहुत बहुत थैंक यू भैया, आप बहुत बहुत अच्छा समझाते हो। एक्चुअली मन में कभी कभी कुछ प्रश्न चलते रहते हैं, द्वंद्व रहता है, तो मुझे लगता है इससे बढ़िया जगह मुझे मिलेगा नहीं मेरे प्रश्न के समाधान का, तो मैं कुछ भी पूछ लेती हूँ आपसे। बहुत बहुत थैंक यू सबको।
राधे राधे।
राधे राधे भैया।
Thank you so much, Didi. So I think we are more than
या
our time.
तो आपकी आवाज का बहुत कम आता है क्योंकि शायद वो
अभी
हेडफोन
ठीक
की
है?
वजह से विजय भैया। सो नेक्स्ट टाइम थोड़ा उसको दुरुस्त कर लीजिए।
ठीक है।
और वो जो ये 31 जो रिकॉर्डिंग है उसको जरा देख लेंगे। बोलिए श्रीमद सदगुरु सरकार की
सरकार की
जय,
जय।
श्रीमद युगल
जय।
सरकार की जय।
जय
जय
जय जय
राधे।
श्री
श्री
राधे,
राधे,
जय श्री
जय
राधे,
श्री
जय
राधे,
श्री राधे,
जय श्री
जय
राधे।
श्री राधे, राधे राधे,
राधे राधे।
राधे राधे।